You're going to be very pleased with the project today. It's printing. No, it's not going to be hard. This is one of the most favorite projects by my students. Now, you start with styrofoam, either a circle or the square one, which you can go down to any grocery store and you can get. And what I like to do is I like to take and I like to cut off. I like the square one because it's easier to cut. And there's two ways you can do this. You can make sure, let's say I'm going to do a butterfly, okay? I like bugs. You can cut the shape of the butterfly or you can leave it in its shape. Now what I do is I usually have in my class, usually one square one, and then I cut it in half for two students. Now if I'm going to keep it on here, I make sure that my edges look a little bit neater. Okay, so this is going to be my plate. And we're going to do that good old-fashioned symmetrical design again. And this time it's going to be on a butterfly. Let's see, I just want to make sure I don't make it too big. So I'm just going to, here's head, and my pretty little butterfly. Okay, and there it is. And we're going to do some cutting. Remember my outside in, and then I can curve around. You're going to have quite a few students that you're going to find that this works very well for them. Outside in. Now the reason we're doing this is because one of the symmetrical quality of it, and we're tracing again. It's always good for the students to have a support system. So I'm going to take this. Oh, it fits perfect. Now when you do this project, you do not, I repeat, you do not want a sharp pencil. You want a dull, round pencil. And I'm going to go and slowly trace around on my styrofoam here. And if you notice, I'm using the side of the pencil. It's a lot easier to glide around. Here we go. And we're so good at designing, aren't we? That we're going to put some pattern work in here. Now, what you have to do is you have to make the lines groovy. And if you're my age, you know exactly what that means. So I take this and I'm making the edges larger. And I'm here we go. Going tracing around. Got some eyes. And our butterfly has this in it. And it has, okay. Now if you go to the back, you make a hole, don't worry about it. No problem. So once you do all your designing, okay, I'm going to jump to a piece that I have used before. You notice that you have to make some shapes. Let me show you what we're doing. Now on this example, I cut it out. Okay. You don't have to though, but this is the fun part. I'm going to take and I'm going to color in using my markers. By the way, I like the Crayola for this, and I like the thick ones, the broad ones. Now do you notice you can see the lines, and I go over it at least twice. And we're going to make a print. In fact, with this technique, you can make a number of prints. In fact, I used this whole concept for Christmas presents. I made my Christmas tree and I did a few different ones and decided which ones I liked the best. And then what I did was I made some copies in the shape of a postcard and sent them out. Now you want to put enough of the marker on here You can see. And the reason it has some color on it is that I used this also in class. So before your students start to color it, you go back and you make sure, one, the lines are groovy, which means that they're really thick and deep enough. And let's see what else we have. Here's some orange here. And I have a little bit of, I think I used a little bit of brown right here. And I think this was a kind of a, we haven't got pink yet, there we go. Okay, it's important to get enough of the marker on here. So once you're there, and this is some paper, drawing paper, a little sponge. You don't want it soaking, you just want it enough to wet the paper. And you can tell, but if you look on this side, it looks shiny. And just make sure it's enough. Now the next step is that you take your butterfly, your design, pick up your paper, put the paper on top of the design carefully. One hand holds it, and the other hand, and you take your thumb and you press down. And what's happening is that the marker is being printed onto the white paper, and I can actually feel the shape. You want to check it? Let me take a little check. Ooh, looking good, looking good. Let me check on this side. Ooh, gotta press a little bit more down here. And what comes up is our first print. Nice, huh? Now, you're going to make a second print. What you do is you paint this again, use the same colors and the same process of wetting the paper and printing. So as long as your styrofoam holds out, you can make quite a few prints. And think of what you can do for gifts and for cards for yourself. But also, it's very easy in the classroom. So let's take a look of what we used today. We used, I'll try this for a change. We used lines, we used shape. We're not working in 3D. We're definitely using color. Not especially in value, we're not looking at that. We have a very textural look. Space is 2D. And over here, we do have patterns. Yes, you're right, the butterfly, that's our emphasis. Yes, you're right, symmetrical balance. Let's take a look. Yes, proportion is good, variety and unity. So those are the elements and principles that we used. Now, what can you do with this technique in your disciplines? Well, if you take a close look over here, what I love is that you can do a geometric pattern for math. We have a mask looking for social studies. We have a cat, someone's cat, and they're going to tell a story about their cat at home for language arts. And here's an example of our butterfly and flower. In fact, here is an example of a close-up of the mask. Now I need to tell you a little trick about this. The wetter the paper, the more impressionistic it is. As you can see, how the edges are blurred over here, and this is crisper. And that's the secret of this project. So, again, I'm going to tell you, you will be doing 2 art projects, and the image deals with one of the disciplines, and your second one deals with a different discipline. I think you're getting the pattern down now. And don't forget to check into the art department online. See you again.